Hi everybody, if you came to watch this video because you have your house under contract to a buyer and you want to learn how to cancel that contract, I got bad news for you. You may not be able to cancel that contract. In fact, you're likely unable to cancel that contract. I am John Wake with Real Estate Decoded and HomeSmart in Arizona. If you've bought a home, you know that the buyer has lots of contingencies. It's easy for the buyer to cancel a contract. There's an inspection contingency. You find anything in the home you don't like, you can cancel the contract, no problem. There's a financing contingency, meaning if you're borrowing money to buy the home and you can't borrow the money, then it's easy for the buyer to cancel. In the vast majority of contracts, the buyer has contingencies to get out of it, but the seller does not. So when you're the seller and you sign that contract, it could be counter number 3 or whatever, and you finally get an agreement, you are locked in. It's hard for a seller to get out of a contract, to sell a home. So how did you get into this situation where you agreed to sell a home and now you don't want to sell it? Typically, that means you're a seller who was not really that motivated to sell originally. It may be that your real estate agent talked you into selling and then talked you into saying this is a great offer, and as time went on, you're thinking, well, it's really not, I don't want to sell, but it's kind of too late for you now. You've signed the agreement to sell. You've signed the contract to sell a house. That's a bad situation to be in. Sometimes people get into a situation, maybe they've been in the house for 20 or 30 years, they raised their kids there, and now they realize, oh my gosh, we have an agreement to sell, and I thought I was going to be able to buy another home for a good price, but homes are super expensive. I can't buy anything. I'm not seeing anything that I like to buy, and I don't want to move here, and all the kids' stuff is in the house, and I don't even want to sell. It's tough, but you can't really cancel a contract just because you want to. There was no contingency in the contract for you, the seller, to cancel it. And part of the problem too is when the real estate agent, you, the seller's real estate agent, didn't explain to you the whole process at the beginning. You and them are so concerned about what's the price, what should we list it at, you forgot about looking at the details on selling the home and that you would be locked in. And then later on, when an offer does come in, you're so concerned on counter offers and the terms that maybe your real estate agent didn't tell you the whole rest of the process and you getting out on time. So what are the possible solutions to this situation? You don't have any good options. You have very, very little leverage. What you can do is just ask the buyer, hey, listen, I changed my mind. Is it okay if I cancel the contract? The buyer, if you're really lucky, would say, okay. That's not likely to happen. The buyer may also say, hey, look, I spent money on an inspection. I spent money on this and that. If you give me some money, maybe, but it's really messing me up. So that's a possibility. But the buyer is probably most likely to say, are you kidding me? I just sold my home back in Chicago. I have a moving van on the road on its way to your place. And no, if you don't sell it to me, I will sue you. So if they sue you, you would probably lose. It's going to be expensive for them, expensive for you. And it's not a good situation for you. So if you get to this point where you want to cancel a contract, you can talk to your agent. It may be to the point where your communications with your listing agent, with your real estate agent is broken off. You can go above that agent to the agent's boss, so to speak, and maybe the boss can help you. Or you can hire your own real estate attorney, and your real estate attorney is basically going to tell you, you know, you're in a really bad situation, you have no leverage here. If it goes to court, you're probably going to lose. So your best opportunity is to talk the buyer out of it if you can. Then it's a sales job. Okay, one final thing is, even if you are able to cancel the contract, the buyer agrees to cancel it, that real estate agent that represented the buyer could say, look, I sold that home, you owe me money. And in fact, typically they would be talking to your real estate agent, because your real estate agent made an offer in the MLS saying, anybody who brings me a buyer, I'll pay them 3% or whatever it is. And that buyer's agent did that. And he may say, fine, but I want my money. And if that happens, then your real estate agent would want money out of you. So it is a complete, total mess. I guess the moral of the story is don't list your home unless you have a plan to get out of the home on time. You know where you're going to be going and you know what you're doing. So I'm sorry, I don't have any good solutions for you if you want to get out of a contract and you're the seller. So maybe the best solution is to find a really good real estate agent who, when you're first talking, explains the whole selling process that you'll have to get down. They are not pressuring you to sell if you don't want to. And then when you get offers, explain, okay, this is the offer, this is the inspection date, is by this time, the buyer has to inspect it, you have to be out by this time, you have to have all repairs done by this time too, so that you really understand the full process before you agree to the contract. Don't get wrapped up in the counters back and forth until you understand what are your obligations in the contract all the way through. So great, I'm John Wake with Real Estate Decoded. Thanks for listening to this video, I really appreciate it. Please subscribe to my channel, realestatedecoded.com. I got a great video on that. If you sign up, I'll send you a video on the #1 best way to sell your house. And thank you for watching. Appreciate it.